It's the Rise and Hive podcast with Leanne and Melissa. It's the Rise and Hive podcast with Leanne and Melissa.
Welcome to the Rise and Hive podcast.
With me, legendary Leanne,
and me, magnificent Melissa.
where connection, laughter, gratitude, and a few golden nuggets are always on the menu.
Well, Leanne, how's your week been?
It has been a good week, Melissa. It's always a good week. And do you know why? Because we are on the journey. People say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I think there's something about what we're doing. It's lighting us up and we are enjoying everything that we're doing. But I think the highlight of the week was we carved out a bit of time to be able to do some strategy planning because life is busy for us. We obviously have full-time jobs and then we record the podcast, we're doing the socials and we've got lots of big, bold and brave ideas.
Yeah.
But we find when we're in podcast mode, it's really hard to come out of podcast mode and go into strategy planning mode. And then there's content creation mode as well. There's 3 modes that we need to be in and it can be really hard. But over the last week, we committed to doing a strategy planning evening and it was just fabulous, wasn't it?
It was. I think because in our daily podcasts, we have so many ideas.
Yeah.
We always we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. And I think now for both of us, this is just recording the podcast. It's just part of, it's just the norm, isn't it? It's just our life. It's just like, well, look, it's a non-negotiable for us both.
It is a non-negotiable.
So I think we both know that. So it's like, right, that's like the norm. What is our next step?
Yeah.
So we've been saying for a few weeks, we need some strategy. You were then going on holiday. So we were like, and then this week, a window of opportunity presented itself. And then they were like, I think we need to utilise that.
So many ideas, and it allowed us to really cut through the noise because when we send, as you know, we send a daily voice note to each other, which we call our daily podcast. As we work through that daily podcast, we're like, oh, we could do this and we could do that. And we have all these, and what you find, I think when you have so many ideas, you end up doing nothing because you're like, what's...
It's overwhelming.
It is, and it's exciting, but you feel like you're not making progress. And I was like, we need to cut through the noise of what is our next actionable step. What is using Camilla Horner from Prosperous Horizons phrase, what is the art of the possible? What is the art of the possible? What could we do? But then really breaking it down to cut through the noise of what is the next actionable step that we're going to take. So it was really exciting for us to start thinking about that. But it really got us thinking about our purpose, didn't it? Like, why do we exist? How do we want people to feel from coming into our hive? And fundamentally, the thing that we reached was coming away from any interaction with us, whether it be anything we do in a coaching space, whether it be through our social media, whether it be through listening to this podcast, we want people to come away with a little bit more courage to believe that they can.
Yes.
Now, whether that be a huge, big, brave and bold move or just a small amount of courage that takes them from thinking, I could never post a video of myself on my stories to then thinking, maybe I could, what if I could? And we always want people to shift the thinking around, what if I could? And for us, there's something around that courage to believe that they can. And that really sharpening that purpose about what we're about helped us to go, okay, does everything that we do lead us to, essentially we want to create the 4 C's, C's, connection. We want to feel connected to people. We want people to feel better connected. We want to create a community through our hive. We want people to feel courage. We want people to feel courageous and brave to take that next step. And then that self-belief and the confidence is the 4 C. So everything that we do, does it hit one of those 4 C's? And if it doesn't, then why are we doing it? Because it doesn't help us achieve our purpose.
Yeah, and just for us, the 5th C that happened to us was it gave us clarity.
So
for it was that clarity of what is the next thing that we need to do? What do we need to do to shift the needle to just start taking the next steps and
next actionable steps? So so our golden nugget for me that we took away was just that reflection of how far we have come. And when we're thinking about all the things that you can do, you think we're not ready to sometimes, and we talk about this a lot, perfectionism is it's the killer of creativity, I suppose. And it's the killer of ideas because you think, oh, we're not ready to do that. And when we reflect back on launching this podcast, which was it's not even 4 months ago, it's about 3.5 months ago, when we reflect back on us launching this podcast and we weren't ready, we didn't know what we were doing and we could have waited till we knew everything, until we were perfect, and we wouldn't have we would never have got there.
No, we would still be talking about it. We would still be, have we got the right equipment, where we're recording from, what we're going to plan, probably the next 20 episodes in advance, where we literally, whatever we are recording is what's come up for us that week and what's really relevant. And then that feels really organic and authentic to us, which is something that's very important.
Yes, being authentic is very important.
Yes, and I think that's, we would have
put it off, and because we would never have been ready, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you need to know until you do it. You learn through doing.
Yes. And I do remember somebody saying, just doing it, yes, you need a business plan sometimes. There's certain things that you might need. If you were going to a bank for a loan, there's certain things that you're going to need. But actually, you can get so involved in that plan. And I think we would have, had we not just took that big, bold, brave step.
You just need to do sometimes.
Yes, that we probably would have still been sitting here going, now we're meeting next week to talk about the podcast.
and you can overly curate the plan, but you don't know until you're in it of the things that you need to know, and you learn. And one of the things that you reflected back to me on was you'd listened back to our first podcast, and you said, I think you need to go and listen back. And I did. And I was like, oh, that is rough and ready. It is rough and ready. Like, the audio is diabolical. The structure, we're both like, yeah. Like the pair of us.
Do you know what, though? And I said this, I think, after I'd re-listened to it only last week, but I was like an excited little puppy. I was so excited.
We were excited. It was on International Women's Day, and we're like, hello. I think that's it. We just started it as a conversation. But actually, it wasn't perfect. But the message of what we talked about, which I want to come back to, I do want to talk about that. But what we said and everything that we talked about is still relevant. So it was rough around the edges. There was lack of structure, and there was lack of microphones, lack of editing, lack of jingle, lack of anything. We didn't know what we were doing, but actually, what we talked about, the value of what we talked about is still very, very relevant. But we would never. I'll go back. I listened to that episode. And then I listened to our second episode. I only listened to the first couple of minutes of the second episode. And then I listened to the first couple of minutes of the third episode. And to the point of thinking, when did we start being a bit more intentional about our structure and things like that? And then I listened to the most recent, and I thought, wow, that journey of where we have come from to where we've got to. And I thought, oh my God, we have up-leveled so much in that 3-month period. And I was like, that blew me away. Just the juxtaposition of that first episode to where we are now. Absolutely blew my mind. I thought, and we would never have got there if we just hadn't done it. So it wasn't perfect. And people talk about waiting for motivation, like people talk about with the gym and waiting to be motivated. The motivation doesn't come. The motivation comes from doing it and then creating the habit around it. That is the thing. So
that's how the confidence grows, because you the belief in yourself and that you showed up. And I absolutely. I'm a different version of Melissa sitting here today than when we sat in that kitchen, because the confidence in myself has grown so significantly since then. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And we could have planned and planned and planned until the cows came home. And the first episode probably would have been of a similar quality and all that. And we would have still had to have gone on this journey. So had we have not just pulled the plug and done it, we wouldn't have got to where we are now. And we wouldn't have submitted an application for the Independent Podcast Awards.
Well, we wouldn't. And the Rise and Hive podcast wouldn't exist, Leanne. I mean, we would not be here. And think about all of our wonderful, beautiful listeners who would not have gotten to experience legendary Leanne and magnificent Melissa.
And actually, the amount of people that have come up with that our podcast, the ripple effect, where people have come away from listening to the podcast and started to have the courage to believe that they can. And it's with a variety of things. But we've had a lot of people have got in touch with us about the life-changing effects that the practices that we put in place around the podcast. So things like having a reflection of how things have been, looking at what your golden nuggets are. What are your takeaways from something that's happened? What are the glory in the ordinary? Just the magnificentness of just ordinary life, and then bragging, putting yourself, selling yourself, putting yourself out there of what you're doing well, but also celebrating other people's success, and then gratitude. And all of the woo-woo. Who would have thought I would have been a woo-woo person?
I know. I mean, you very recently posted on your stories about the universe having your back and about the divine. And I was like, who is this woman?
The divine
who is
team
this
has got
woman?
the divine team. And I thought, who even am I? Who even am I right now?
I was getting all goosebumps. I had a glimmers moment. I was like, look at this.
I know. It's like I don't even know myself. But I did think, do we need to go back and retell where it all started from? It started with a voice note.
Yes, and I think that is something very powerful because when I listen back, and it's a little bit, it's that the audio isn't great. Do you know what I mean? And I think if people came in on that first time to hear us, it may be this element that's like, oh gosh, you know, who are these two?
Yeah.
I think you've said in one of them about us being rough. We were a bit rough around the edges, and that's not how we want to be known. But we just wanted to do it, and it's we want to talk about how that started, but also just really emphasising that message of, had we not done that, we wouldn't be sat here now. We would not have learned as much. We would not have connected with all the beautiful people who we have, whether it's in real life, whether it's through Spotify comments, Instagram voice messages, all of that. And none of that would have happened had we just not on that day just went, let's do this. Let's do it.
It started on the 8th of August, 2025.
It did.
It started with a voice note. And how it started was Melissa came to me and said, Leanne, would you like to be my daily my daily accountability buddy?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
And I thought,
yes,
not really, Melissa. No. What does that? I think I was like, what does that involve? Tell me more. And I do try and approach things with an open mind, but I thought, this doesn't sound a bit of me. This does not sound a bit of me. But she clocked a little chink in my armour. I was a bit open, and you swooped in and went, Leanne, I was thinking we could be daily accountability buddies. And I thought, And what you said to me was, every day we'll send each other a voice note and we'll talk about our day as if it's already happened and how great the day has been. And I thought, this doesn't sound like something I would do. Because the days are I don't understand. I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand. And you were like, I was like, I'll trust the process. I will trust the process, Melissa. So let's just go with it, and we'll see.
You didn't say I can't.
I didn't say.
You didn't. You said, yes, I will, because you thought, well, I could try.
I could try. I could. And I thought, do you know what? We'll give it a go. I'll humour for a couple of days. I think that was what I thought. I was like, I will humour you. I will humour you for a couple of days. So I did go along with it and thought, okay, come on then. And then on day one, on the 8th of August, 2025, at 6 o'clock in the morning, a little message pops through. And was it 6 minutes long?
I can't remember.
It was a couple of minutes, and I thought
it was been a couple of minutes,
and I thought,
yeah. I think we went up to 6. I think, yeah. It was minutes,
and I thought, oh, and you're like, good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy. I don't know what, it might have been a Monday. It must have been a Monday.
Yes, it was. It was a Monday, because I remember specifically where I sat when I asked you, when I was big, bold and brave. Thought, I'm going to ask Leanne if she'll do this with me, because I think she might be open. I was sat in the kitchen. It was a Sunday. So yes, so it would have been starting on a Monday.
So it was like, good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Monday, the 8th of August, 2025. And then you started saying about how great your day had been and all of the things that happened. So you were setting your intention as if the day was going to have been a great day and all the things that you've achieved. So it's about sort of setting yourself up for success in that day ahead.
Yeah.
And I listened to her, I thought, oh, she's very natural on this. And I'm all right sending a voice note. I'm quite comfortable with a voice note, but I was like, hello, good morning, kind regards, best wishes. I was as stiff as a board. I was like, and I was thinking, how on earth am I going to talk? I was like, so it's been a great day. I went to the gym. I had no intention of going to the gym that morning, but then I was like, I've said I'll go to the gym. I'll have to go to the blooming gym now. But I was like, I've been to the gym. Work was great. Achieved everything on my to-do list. Had a very pleasant evening.
thank you, goodbye. I never do this again.
And it was pretty much like that. And when I listened back, I was like, oh my days. And then the following day, you got a little bit of encouragement because I engaged in the process. And then so you came in with a little bit of a longer one. I thought, oh crikey, how am I going to? So then I started writing down a couple of notes, but I found I was just writing the same thing down every day. Of like, I've been to the gym, I've had a good day, like I've achieved everything. But and maybe then I started talking about what I maybe had planned for the day, and I was like, this is going to be a good meeting, or this is going to be a good interaction, or I'm going to be successful in this presentation, or something like that. So, but it wasn't sitting with me comfortably. You were bringing in gratitude as well, and I was not buying into that. I was like, yeah, I'll just ignore the fact that she's done that, and I'll bring in the gratitude. That came later. But it started building up, and I thought, how on earth am I going? Then when an 8-minute one came in, I thought, what am I going to talk about for 8 minutes? 8 minutes about my day that hasn't happened. But the thing that it did do was, I always say, it kick-started me going to the gym, because I started saying I've been to the gym, and even though I didn't have any intention of going to the gym, I thought, well, and at no point were you ever going to come back and fact check me and do you were never going to do it like an inventory of all the things that I said I would do, and then check them off against a checklist to be like, did Leanne do the things that she said she was going to do for the day? But for me, from a self-trust perspective, it's very important that I do the things that I say I will do.
Self-trust is one of your very strong values, isn't it?
So it's important that we have trust in ourselves, and the things that create self-trust are around doing the things that that's one of the key things around creating strong self-trust. And I thought, well, I've said I'm going to the gym, so I'll have to go. And because of that, I fell back in love with the gym, and now I
look at your shoulders.
Look at my shoulders. Check out my guns. But I fell back in love with it. I've gone to the gym for years on and off, and I've had like peaks, and I've always gone in some capacity, but I've been more intentional and less intentional over the years. But I've like to the point now where when I go on holiday, I go to the gym every day because I've got the time to do it. I find it's like one of the things I enjoy to do.
Routine.
And when I was in the gym recently on holiday, someone came in and was like, we must be mad going to the gym on holiday. And I think some people do it to try and offset the calories that they might eat. Whereas for me, I'm like, I'm really grateful that I have the opportunity to go because I've got time.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't go more is because I don't have the time. So that was one thing that it did kickstart. But it was when I went on holiday in the September time that I started being a bit more creative with it. And I started sprinkling in a few, I think I went off piste. I've never been a strong rule follower in terms of following a brief. And I was like, the reflecting on my days that's happened wasn't resonating. So I started just talking about my day that had gone and just reflecting on things.
Yeah.
So I had more time on my hands. So I would go for a walk in the morning, and I find we talk about meditation, and we recently talked about this. You're into meditation, you're into breath work, you're into sound baths, and you can relax. Mindfulness, that would be the word. You're into that. Whereas I lie down in that situation and my mind just starts racing and thinking about all the things that I could be doing or should be doing.
Instead of the thing that you're doing. Yeah.
But one of our listeners, shout out Dale, dropped into our DMs via voice note recently, and he said, mindfulness your form of meditation is going for a walk. That's where I process my thoughts when I'm walking. That's where I clear my mind, and going out and walking and talking and reflecting. And for me, that's my form of it. And that's where I started to shift my thinking around the daily podcast. And then you were meeting me at that point, and that's where it all started to shift, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And I think, and the reason why we thought it was really important to come back to this, because the core of when we've been thinking about our next steps, what we have done and shown up for each other is so special. And I don't think people will really, really, really get it unless they experience that. But how much we've both grown, changed, being able to see things from a different perspective, from listening to somebody else's feedback, but also hearing your own voice, being able to hear that own, when you're saying things out loud and processing, organising your own thoughts. It's so powerful. It is so, so, so powerful. And from that, anybody who will now come into our world at all, I want people to know that Melissa and Leanne are the voice note queens,
the
basically.
Queens of the voice notes, yes.
Because we will interact with people as much as we can via a voice note. Because to me, it's the connection you create by hearing somebody's voice. It just showing, giving them that.
The intent behind what you mean, because
Yes.
sometimes in a message, it's bringing your energy of what you actually mean and how you want to be perceived, and that you can translate that far more clearly
Yeah.
in an audio format than a written format. Because how many times have you got a message and you've read it in your own head of how that actually, if you might be feeling a certain way and you read it and go, you read it in a voice that like might be anger
Yeah.
or joy
Yeah.
and I can't think of a very good example, but. And then actually, that's not how the person intended it, but you put your own meaning. Whereas when if you hear a message,
Yes.
it can be
Yeah.
quite hard to misinterpret. Or it's harder to misinterpret.
Yes. Well, and but I very recently have had a conversation with somebody about energy. Now, energy is real. We're all energy as humans. Energy is around us all the time, and we've talked about on here about the energy when you're walking into a room and the impact that you can have. And the conversation I was having around about an energy shift in messages between two people, and you can sense that. If somebody's writing a written message and there's something, you can sense that energy shift sometimes. Where to me, that voice note, that short hearing the voice, you can hear where somebody's at, how they're feeling. It's just a beautiful way of connection for me. But we started that, and every single day, and we said this in. It started with a voice note, take one. This is start with the voice note, take two, because we wanted to ensure, because actually something very recently that you shared, we think everybody will know that if you've said something once or twice, people will know that message. No, you've got to keep saying it. You've got to keep saying it. So we know ultimately that the core of everything that we will always be about is wanting to share the power of
the power of the podcast.
The power of the podcast.
So we call it a daily podcast as opposed to a voice note, don't we? Because the turned into went from being a couple of minutes long to today from you. I received a 44 because you are an Angels number girl. So I always try and meet each other with our angel numbers. But the other day, 55 minutes. Like that's how long they can be. They're usually 33 minutes, 33. That's our normal daily one, and we've done that every single day without fail since the 8th of August 2025. We have shown up consistently, no matter what the days, no matter where we're at, whether we've been on holiday, whether we've been at a wedding, whether we've been Christmas Day, you name it, we have shown up every single day. And some days it might be shorter ones, but every single day we have shown up consistently and sent each other a daily podcast. But the benefits that it has had on us, the power of the podcast is unreal. And I think for me, like being able to reflect on things, it's a space to process your thoughts, process your emotions, just get it out of your system. And sometimes by the time you've got it, you've figured out what it is. But sometimes we come back with, we always come back with reflections to each other and say, you said this, I want to offer a different perspective, or have you thought about that? And we will come in with all of those reflections to each other. And then what are the golden nuggets? But then that upward twirly spiral of positivity and energy. So this week, for example, your energy was a bit lower, but my energy has been high. And listening to my energy is completely... I've been able to like drag you through, and your energy has latched onto mine and it's spiraled it upwards.
Oh gosh, yeah,
in a really positive way.
I had one day where I was sort of low energy, and then I listened to your podcast. I'd sent mine first, and I listened to yours, and I felt like a new woman. I was like, I was like, yes, and I'd shifted that mindset already, just from listening to your daily podcast, and I think it's just so powerful. Saying the things out loud, it to me takes the power out of it. The minute the thoughts I have said in them daily podcasts, thoughts that in the past would have only ever been in my mind, because they're the things that you think, not going to say them out loud, but I've said them. It's took the power out of the thought. It's allowed me to process that thought. It's allowed you to come back on reflect sometimes as well. And sometimes that initial reflection might feel uncomfortable, but it's up-leveled me, because then I'm like, I need to see that from a different perspective. Actually, could I have shown up better in that moment? So there's so much. And I think one of the key things for me when I've been reflecting over the last few days, once we thought we need to bring it, we want to show people. We did that. We did that podcast 3.5 months ago. We weren't ready. But what we now have now is a much more, and we'll continue improving. In another 3.5 months, we will be, we've got Limitless Liam on as our producer now.
We do.
And that's going to give us some limitless opportunity from there. So what will look like, but it's like to show that wasn't perfect then, but that's okay. Because it's not deep. It was all right. We can come back. We can do it again.
And here we are doing it again.
Here we are, and we want to bring that message again to show people, of how we're showing up and us doing the thing. That it was amazing. But a couple of things that are really, really golden nuggets for me. Stop chasing perfection.
Definitely, definitely.
Because we've talked about the perfectionist mask, and I am a perfectionist. There was actually something at work this week where I was sharing a team screen, and I started then playing around with the dog, and I'm like, oh, there's the perfectionist come out. And they were taking the mickey, but I was like, yeah, because it's like, it's real. But I've had to let go of a lot of that, because actually what we've realised as well, people want to see the authentic side. They want to see you just... Normal,
nobody's perfect. Nobody is
no.
perfect. That is the thing. We all have moments where we fail, we do things that could have been better, we don't show up as our best selves. Like everybody does. Everybody does.
The human experience.
Yeah, and I think if you show up as somebody who is perfect at all times, it's unattainable to people.
It is.
It's absolutely unattainable. So, and I think there's a difference between. I like to work to a standard, so I like things to be. I'm not saying just, turn out things that are rubbish, but I think there's certain things where, is it going to make it like, well, first of all, the reality in life is there will be things that maybe go wrong, and that's okay.
Of course.
And you learn, that's where the learning comes from. We've talked about that in previous podcasts. But the perfectionist side of things, where for all of the effort that you might put in to make something, it's because you're avoiding doing it. I always say perfectionism is fear in fancy shoes. It's a way of avoiding failure. So if you set yourself a high and unattainable standard of perfection, then you're like, oh, well, I can't do it until I've done X, Y, and Z. And really what you're doing is putting off doing it, because then you're not exposing yourself to the risk of failure. So there's that. And I think being really clear about that and having each other as accountability for that, and saying, we're just going to do it. And it's sometimes having each other softens the blow of the failure, because we're just like, oh, well, you can feel really exposed in front of it. So we can just say to each other when we know it, and we're just like, yeah, it's fine. But for the effort that you might put in for something, like we talked the other week about getting the captions right on Instagram, and for the amount of time it might take you versus the value of, like, a lot of people might just scroll onto a story. It's not really that deep. In an ideal world, we would have the captions on and the spelling there'll be no typos, there'll be no autocorrect fails or whatever. In an ideal world, it would be, but it's not that deep if it's not.
No, it's not.
The world will not end. The world will keep on churning. Somebody might notice it for a millisecond and then move on with the day. It's not worth the 1 hour of your time going, I really can't get this to load. And sometimes you've just got to let certain things, like, what can you let go, and what are your minimum standards of the things that you wouldn't let go?
Yeah. And then the other golden nugget was the power of my own voice. So, because I think when you, and we mentioned this, and we do sometimes listen to our own podcasts back, but also just when you're recording and saying them things out loud and processing your thoughts and saying things that you might not always feel comfortable. Because the good thing is we're not sitting here saying it face to face, which now I think, though, that emotional connection that we've built, and that safety and trust that we've built, I would say anything face to face that I would in a daily podcast. But in that initial, it can feel quite scary to say some things out loud because of fear of judgment. It's like, oh, what they're going to think of me. But realising, recognising that actually our voice is having faith in what you're saying and starting to believe in yourself. And I believe in myself so much more, in the power. And it made me just think about my voice is my superpower. And that's okay. Because when I was at school, they always used to write, Melissa talks a lot. And I do.
She is a chatty Cathy. But that's who you are, and that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
Like, I call you a chatty Cathy, but like, I know that about you, and some people will love that about you, some people won't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But for you, for us,
that's who I am, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna shy back. And I'm not gonna, so I've found my voice. I have found a space.
Oh, she's found it. She is a chatty Cathy.
I found my voice, and I can be sitting here and I can share that. So it's my superpower.
It is your superpower. I think the other bit of one of the two other things with the daily, our daily podcast that we brought in was the gratitude, and you started sprinkling it in, and then at Christmas time, was it December, January? You said, would you like to do a
28 days.
28-day Count Your Blessings challenge, where for 28 days we needed to say 10 things that we are grateful for. And I was like, oh dear. And some of that is not about the big things. And that made me realize what the very small, and this is where the glory of the ordinary comes in. We are very much around the magic is in those ordinary moments. And we call it glory of the ordinary, because I love the most boring, minutiae things and actually that's what makes the world go round. But you start to the small things that you're actually grateful for, when you start noticing that and appreciating it, that's where the magic comes from. And I was not keen on doing this 28-day
10 count your blessings.
10 count your blessings a day.
And also, can we just put the caveat in? You weren't allowed to say the same blessing a second time, so it was 10 new blessings every day.
Yes, you couldn't just wheel out the same one. I'm grateful for the sun, which is so. Well, I often am grateful for the sun, but yes, we had to do 10 new gratitudes every single day, and I was like, oh my days. But it really gets you searching for things, and we did that, and we completed the challenge. And then since then, we don't, and we never explicitly talked about it, but gratitude is a non-negotiable within our daily podcast. So at the end, and sometimes if we run out of time, we'll always come back and be like, and what we're grateful for. And it's the last minute of our daily podcast. We always come in. And it's something that, and I know some listeners have come into us and said that they've taken it on. And now in our team meeting at work, there was one of our leadership meetings, and I think it ended on a little bit. We were working through probably some knotty issues, and the energy dipped a little bit at the end, and we were like, oh, that feels like we've ended on a bit of a low. And Anne, who is a listener of the podcast, a shout out to Anne, said, I think we need to pick up. She went, let's all go around and say what we're grateful for. And by the end of it, so we all went around the table like, oh, we're grateful for this. And then we realised that we were grateful for each other and the fact that we had that relationship and that we could recognise that the energy was low. And so that ripple effect of other people taking that on. And Anne's introduced it in her daily life with a daughter and a partner. And they do it every day. And she's like, I love it. And I was like, that ripple of other people. And I think one of the things we're always keen to say is, if you enjoyed this podcast, share it. Hit the follow button. Hit the follow if you listen on Apple Podcasts, whether you listen on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Hit the follow button and share it. Tell somebody else, because the ripple of what the impact that we can have. Other people deserve to know about this. Other people, we see it as our mission, that the benefit of this podcast, and we've taken the format of our daily podcast in terms of reflections, golden nuggets, glory of the ordinary, gratitude, and I feel I've missed one.
Oh. Well,
braggers. What are you grateful for? Like what? Sorry, not what you're grateful for. What have you got to brag about? How are you going to celebrate your success? That's what's included within our daily podcast, and that then became the format of this podcast. And the benefit of that, we want other people to really feel the benefit of that, to give them the courage to believe. What if you can? What if you can?
Yes, because in that, the bragger's corner element of it is, we all shy away from actually celebrating ourselves.
We do.
It's really hard. It's the same way, and we've spoken about this before, accepting compliments. If you can push past that and really start to accept it, you are teaching yourself that you deserve that compliment. You are retraining that muscle, your mind to go, I deserve that compliment. And actually celebrating ourselves is something we do not do very well, and that's why we wanted because we were like, oh, I'm really proud of that.
Yes,
I've done really well there, and there's a lot of power. It's not about the ego. It's not about
a lot of people think, oh, they'll think I'm full of myself. They think I love myself, and actually, what's
You've
wrong
done
with
something really, really fantastic. Why shouldn't you be shouting that from the rooftop?
Why shouldn't you?
That's not, it's not. It's a beautiful gift that you can give to yourself, and actually, but showing other people, well, if they can do it, why can't I?
It gives people the courage to believe that they can. So if you see other people doing something and doing something well, it gives them the courage to believe that they can. But I think one of my favourite bits is around the glory of the ordinary, and how we bring in just ordinary, just moments of life. Yeah,
and absolutely.
I think, and when I go for a walk with my dad in the morning, every day we're like, what are you having for your tea? What are you having for your breakfast? And that is like those ordinary conversations that people have that like you really enjoy. And it's something quite special. And I have been on the bin. I have been on the bin train. I am the bin ambassador. I have been the bin monitor, and I've had a lot of bin crack. And people have been with me on the bin crack.
Yeah, because we're creating a community. That's the thing. So people are enjoying that.
A community of bin monitors.
Oh,
so
nice.
Do you want a bit of glory of the ordinary?
Well, Leanne, we are. You know, I'm here for it. You know, our listeners are here for it. It's what we're all about. Come on, give us some bin crack.
Well, I've been on holiday. So Gary next door has had to be on the bins for me.
Oh, so did he know? Did you go and officially appoint him into this role, or did he just took?
He's self-appointed.
Nice one. Well done, Gary. Get yourself in Braggers Corner.
Braggers Corner for Gary on the bins. So he's self-appointed. Louise sent me a message and said Gary's on the bins. He's not going to put the food waste out. He's not bought into the food waste. Now, there's been a lot of drama about the food waste bins because of the maggots. Now, people have said the bins have been full of maggots because there's food waste left in a bin. Now, a point to note, if your bin was in a food waste bin or just the big bin.
Yeah, good point, yeah. It's going to get maggots if there's
food waste in there. So people have been quick to point this out. So on the Facebook, there's been argy-bargy with people saying, I'm not putting my food in there. It's filled with mould and maggots. And people saying, well, if you put it in your green, regular general waste bin, it's there for 2 weeks, actually. So there'll be even more maggots. Yeah. Whereas in the food waste bin, it's collected weekly. Yeah. So that I did find a little bit of amusement in that.
Yeah. Now, can I just we don't get the facts or anything here. We're not fact checking at all. But am I right in thinking that you'd only get maggots if flies had gone in and laid their eggs?
Well, I have been doing a little. Well,
have you been fact checking?
No.
This is very organic. This conversation was never coming, but I'm just thinking because I do remember there's been a couple of times where I've had maggots in my wheelie bin, not very often, and I'm just going to own this. I've just getting bleach and powdered all over the bin. Well, but I thought that was something to do with flies and eggs, but I could be saying something really ridiculous, so apologies.
I said to Liam, and I said, where do maggots come from? And then he mentioned about he's talked about flies, and I was like, well, where do they come from? And he said, from flies. And then do maggots do maggots? No, I've not fact checked. He did fact check it. He went on the Google, or he may have gone on ChatGPT, which he calls his ChatGPT Mickey. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I call my ChatGPT Mavis. Yeah. So he went on to Mickey, and Mickey told him, and it was something to do with flies laying eggs. Now, do the flies' eggs turn into maggots? Is that the thing? I'm sure he initially told me that maggots turn into flies.
That's what I thought.
And I think that was correct or something, but I didn't quite understand.
Yes.
I haven't fact checked. I don't know. We may need to come back on this information. We'll never come back on this information,
no,
just as a side note.
And apologies if anybody has any really strong feelings towards maggots, and I've just announced there that
You've bleached the maggots.
That I bleached the maggots. Yeah. Apologies for that. But don't cancel us.
Don't cancel us on bleach maggot gate. No, thank you.
It's awful. I don't know whether you've ever opened your wheelie bin and there is just a mass of it's horrible.
Well, now that I'm on the food waste bin,
but you'd have to get a fly in there. So that would
I keep the lid shut. I keep the lid shut. I keep the lid shut.
It would only be because the fly would have to lay the eggs and then fly off. So.
Who knows? Who knows? If you are an expert in maggot-related activity, please do get in touch. Join us at theriseandhive.com via email, or you can comment on our socials at the Rise and Hive podcast on Instagram. You can comment on the podcast as well, wherever you listen to your podcast from. Leave us a comment. If you are a maggot-related expert, we would love to hear from you to learn more. And we'll share back, because this is a community of education. we will pass on maggot-related activity.
We might not get the facts right when we relay it back.
No, it's very likely we will not get the facts correct. Do not come to us for fact-checked information.
Don't ever be sitting around a table and share a fact and then go, where did you hear that? The Rise and Hive podcast.
But it will be a conversation starter, that's a guarantee.
Yes.
But back to the bins. So Gary, self-appointed as bin monitor, put the bin out. I got a message to say, Leanne, put the bin out, put it back away, job's a good one. I think he's keen to come on the podcast and talk about the bins, actually.
Nice,
I think he's pitched himself as a guest to come on and talk about the bins. Yeah. So thank you to Gary. Let's pop some gratitude in towards Gary for doing the bins.
Thank you, Gary.
But In terms of other news on the bins, Lisa has been on. She has been on the local Facebook page and monitoring the bin-related activity. So she tagged us in on Facebook.
She did. Thank you, Lisa.
Into a post. Now, I can't remember what it was about, but it was bin-related. I think it might have been about the rollout of when you're getting your bin.
Yeah, because I still don't have mine.
Exactly. Breaking news. The bins have not made it to the North Durham area. So... You know, and August is the timeline for the bins. But I've got some very, very breaking news for the listeners. So Morven's been in touch. And
now, can I just come in here a moment?
Go on.
Because we were just talking about, it started with a voice note, and we just said we want to be known as the voice note queens.
Not the bin ladies. No. I thought you were going to say we want to be known as the bin ladies.
You're the bin ambassador.
I am the bin ambassador.
Am I the... What would I be as an underneath? I mean, yeah. I'm just here taking in all the information, you know. I feel like I'm not...
You're the understudy. You're the bin understudy.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I was aspiring for all my life.
That's what you've dreamt to be.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you were saying...
Big, bold goals, come on. That's what
I be the understudy of the bins. So, Morven... Oh, sorry,
yes, but... We said we want to be voice note queens. We want people to know that we will have a beautiful connection with you with voice notes, and we want everybody to come in. So when we say this, please come in.
We mean it.
We mean it. You'll sometimes get double bubble. We might come in, if we're together, we'll record and send one back together. So you get us at the same in one.
Yes.
We even this week sent a little video
We've been doing videos.
So don't be afraid to come in. We honestly want to hear from you. But wasn't this a voice note? I think this information that you're about to share came in a voice note on Instagram.
Via a voice note from Morven, who was one of our early listeners. So
she was. Thank you. And thank you for still being loyal and here for us.
Yes.
We are very, very grateful. Thank you.
Love that you got in touch with us, and we love that you reached out in the first place.
Yes.
That was the first thing. And then we love that you reached out recently, and you said you were thinking, oh, we'll be too busy to listen to a voice note from you. We are absolutely not too busy. And the information Morven shared, we definitely, I will clear the diary for this information. So
hot topic here.
Hot topic.
Breaking news.
Breaking news indeed. So Morven lives in Scotland, and they've had the food waste bins for over 10 years.
Wow.
Over 10 years. She was shocked and stunned.
That I still don't have mine.
Well, yes, but that County Durham are only, and England in general, are only rolling out the food waste bins as of 2026. She is shocked and stunned because for 10 years they have had the bins. Now, further news just in. Morven lives in a small, I want to say cul-de-sac, I may be making that up. I think a small village area, a small street, and sometimes the bins get missed. There's been a couple of occasions now. Her mum lives next door to her and has taken up the role. She is the bin ambassador of Scotland, of Morven Street. So she
Scotland.
Again, unverified information.
Well done. That is an achievement.
That is an achievement.
Do you want to be the bin ambassador for England?
Yes. I'm certainly the bin ambassador for County Durham.
You are. I
am. But she has now got a direct line into the key person at their local council for the bins. She has got a contact. So there was one, it got missed once, and then Morven went one step further and she shared a screenshot of an email that her mum had sent when the bins got missed. I was like, I am here for this information. Yeah. This is the type of crack that I live for. Yeah. This is the glory in the ordinary, but I love it. I was like, this is the crack. So yes, her mum was, I need to email. So now she's got a direct line into this person. But there was a period of time where they were missed for many weeks. So who knows? It's all going to wreck and ruin. It is all going to wreck and ruin there. So she will keep us updated. She also had a disclosure that she's never had a Yorkshire pudding. I'm going to save that for question of the week because that needs a bit of unpacking. That was a jaw-dropper moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Jaw-dropper moment, indeed.
Yeah.
But yes, the bins they're still a hot topic. They will continue to be a topic close to my heart.
Well, because we've both gone back and listened to some of the earlier episodes as a reflection for ourselves on how far we've come. So, celebrating us, I actually pointed out that the bin crack has been going on pretty much since the beginning. Because when you're talking about the wind, the strap on, and now we've got food collection. So you are absolutely the bin ambassador.
Never mind, it started with a voice note. It started with a wheelie bin.
Yes, that's the one.
That's what we'll change the name of. But anyway, who are we putting in Bragger's Corner this week?
Well, we're going to put in myself.
For a change. Go
Well,
for
we
it,
did
Melissa.
just say we've got to brag and celebrate ourselves. So I am coming in to brag and celebrate myself because it is 18 months since I had an alcoholic drink.
Well done, Melissa. That
Thank
is
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Well done.
I don't think that people believed I could do it.
No, I definitely didn't. Not that I didn't, but no.
Yeah, and not that I had a problem in any way. And there's no judgment here, obviously, if people that wasn't the reasons why.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of reasons why, but I don't think that people thought I would probably hold it out. But I'm here for it. I love it. I love fresh mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it. And so, yes, I'm celebrating myself because I was like 18 months. Thank you.
Fabulous. Well done, Melissa.
You.
Well, I am going to put in Camilla Horner from, I mentioned it earlier on in the podcast. So Camilla from Prosperous Horizons has launched her new offer. So she is she's somebody who we worked with for quite a few years. And she set up her own business about a year and a half ago. I might be getting the timeline wrong. Unfact checked information. I should know this, but time flies and you don't know where you're at with life.
No, I think you got right, yes.
And recently she has decided to launch something new and special, and it's about the art of the possible. So she wants to work with women. She wants to work with ambitious women, very competent women, capable women, brilliant women who are like very successful in a corporate career, but know they are capable of more and feel like there's something missing. But she wants them to sort of believe, she wants to help them explore the art of the possible about what could they do more, where could those big brave bold moves, and like dream big, not keep yourself small, find that voice and dream big. So she is launching the art of the possible and it sounds amazing. She's going to be incredible. She's going to be a guest on the podcast because we're really keen to showcase and profile very confident, capable women, but also to pull back the curtain on, like, people might look at somebody who's confident and capable and think, oh, it's all right for them, they've got it all together, life's okay for them. But actually we're really keen to pull back the curtain and go, everybody struggles, everybody has self-doubt, everybody has imposter syndrome, everybody has fears, everybody has insecurities, everybody worries about failure. We all have that, no matter how successful and who you are, what role you do, everybody experiences those things, and we want to pull back the curtain. So we want to celebrate the brilliant things that they do, but we also want to pull back the curtain, and we're all humans at the end of the day. So shout out to Cam from Prosperous Horizons about the art of the possible. It's going to be brilliant. She's launched it and I'm so here to see what she does next because it's going to be brilliant.
It is. Now, we're not quite, but I'm going to just slip in a little bit of gratitude because I think what would be right to say, so I worked with Camilla. She was actually my boss for a very, very long time. And she was actually one of the first people who actually started to allow me to believe in myself.
The art of the possible.
The art of the possible. And she really did. She always believed in me and she pushed me out my comfort zone at times and let me start to believe in myself. So I know this next step for her is going to be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. She was a brilliant leader for you.
Yes, brilliant leader. So thank you, Camilla. So excited for her, and we will be here to cheer, lead and support in every way that we possibly can. So yes, and then I'm going to slip one more person into a Bragger's Corner. So when I was at Manifest, I met, well, it was during one of the, there was a speaker on and we had to go around the room, and I just turned around and I was just drawn to somebody called Dale, and I went over and we had to share around what we were thinking around what the speaker had discussed, and we had a little interaction which was very, very nice. And then he came into our voice messages. No, he might have just sent a message, I think, but we've then been having some messages. And now, Dale, I'm going to apologise, I think it's in a North Star coaching. We will get that right. We can fact check that.
We won't. Let's not lie. Let's not tell lies.
If I'd had
we'll forget. We'll forget.
My phone is not anywhere near it, so I was like, I would go and get it now. So I think I've got that right. But basically, he also has a podcast, and and I've listened to quite a few of them episodes. Very, very good. He is, but he'd been slightly procrastinating on doing another one, and he'd been sharing this in a voice note, but he was big, bold and brave this week and was meant to record another one. So I just want to celebrate him for saying, well done, Dale.
Yeah, big up, Dale. I've very much enjoyed our interactions via voice and video. So big up, Dale. Loving your podcast. And if you haven't listened to Dale's podcast, we will try and tag him on the socials. But knowing us, we may forget. So we'll not make any promises, but we will try and remember to tag Dale. But Dale, if you're listening, why don't you share this podcast on your socials and tell people to listen to your own podcast as part of their sharing that. So little call to action for you, Jill.
Good point. So yes, thank you. What are you grateful for this week, Leanne?
Well, number one, I am grateful for the fact that we have onboarded producer Liam, Limitless Liam.
I'm grateful as well.
With his GNVQ in media studies from 1998. I might have got that year wrong, but he will definitely tell us because he reels it out all the time. He's got a GNVQ level 3 in media studies from 1998. And he has taken over as our producer and editor. So he has picked up the mantle because we are time poor. So he's tried to create a bit of capacity for us to be able to do more and do some more exciting things. So very, very grateful. I onboarded him.
I'm very grateful.
I onboarded him earlier in the week with a training session and an induction, and he has picked up the mantle. So very, very grateful to producer Liam, Limitless Liam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Number two, I'm grateful for the time that we carved out for our strategy planning day this week. It was a lovely day as well. The sun was shining, and we sat in the garden and just having that headspace for the ideas to flow and carving out time to do that was fabulous. My energy from there has been soaring high, and yours has been even higher. So together we are literally we are flying to the moon.
Yeah,
we are so high. So buzzing like honeybees. So very, very grateful for that. And then finally, I'm grateful for the fact that we've got some new listeners who are engaging in the podcast as well.
Yes.
So we've had a few new people who've reached out in the comments on Spotify, a few new people who've joined us on the socials at the Rise and Hive podcast on Instagram, but we've had a few new comments and a few new people who've been big, bold and brave and reached out, and we're loving it. We're here for it. So when we see somebody's name who's new, we're like, oh, we've got a new comment, we've got a new follower, somebody who's got involved, and we love it. So please never think that you're too small or insignificant or we don't know you, so you can't comment. Your voice is valid and we want to hear from it, because we are all about the courage to believe what if you can. And that what if you can, it might be commenting on our socials or on our posts and reaching out to us and getting in touch. So we love it, we're here for it, and I'm really grateful.
Very grateful.
What about you?
Yeah. So I'm grateful that my trip to London was cancelled. So I was meant to be at London this week, and it was cancelled due to adverse weather conditions. Can you believe it? And that allowed us the space to, I'm coming in with gratitude for our strategy planning session as well, because, oh my gosh, it was like, got this window of opportunity now. Can we utilise this? And we're like, yes. And it just, you said it, the art of the possible. We've got some amazing ideas, but the way we structured it out, like what's going to be important for now, everything. And then the few days after that, we've both just been on this high of ideas. So my little notebook is full of things. Just like, yesterday I actually sat and re-listened to your daily podcast to write out all the amazing things that you've been thinking of, and we're riding that high. So very grateful that we got that time and made that commitment to show up for each other. So thank you. Grateful for more live music with my boy. So just spending that time with them, singing live music, having that quality time with them, I'm always going to be grateful for that. Always. So yes, it was Empire of the Sun at this time, and Blue Brigade, I'm glad I could remember the name because I do forget, who we saw previously in London, is one of the support acts.
Fabulous.
And they were absolutely amazing. So very, 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 very grateful for time with my boy and more live music in my life. Can't get enough music in my life. And then I want to come in with number 3, with gratitude to you and to your energy this week. I was a little bit lower at the beginning of the week, and we already spoke about this, but that ripple effect that it had for me, and you did nothing other than send me a daily podcast, which you, at this point, we were crossing over. We normally, the timings always work that they come at about the same time. We both got an opportunity to listen before we start work. And then I listened and I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I needed. I needed that. So it's that power of someone else's energy and the impact that it can have. So I've been very grateful for you and just very grateful for everything we've created over this short period of time. It feels like such a long time ago that we started this.
But it wasn't at all.
But it wasn't. It wasn't. And it's because we've become so far. Now, it's just amazing. So it is, again, that message of you can, do that thing. Believe that you can do that thing. Have the hard conversation, go and post a post on social media, do anything that little thing that might be in your mind. Might be making a new meal. It could be just trying a new recipe out or going to it could be anything. It's something so small and just thinking, you can.
Rather than thinking
I
could never, what if you can? What if you can?
Yes.
That is the takeaway we want you to take. And that concludes another episode of the Rise and Hive podcast. So if you've enjoyed the episode, hit that follow button and hit the share button. It means more to us than you know. Don't forget to follow us at the Rise and Hive podcast on Instagram. And you can always email us at join us at theriseandhive.com.
Yeah. And
sending you
lots of love.
It's the Rise and Hive podcast with Lee.